What's up, creepers? Welcome to Phin and Bryn Spoops.
I'm Bryn.
I'm Phin.
And welcome to day 24.
24?
Day 24. So we had a request from our neighbor Alex to watch Truth or Dare. We had no idea that there was two movies called Truth or Dare.
So we watched the wrong one.
We watched the wrong one.
You're welcome, Alex. The other one's not streaming though, so we won't be able to watch it.
We watched the one that's on Netflix. The one that was directed by Nick Simon, who directed The Girl in the Photographs. It came out in 2017, and it has a 5.0 out of 10. It's 5 out of 10 stars on IMDb. What are you going to rate it, Phin?
I'm trying to think. I don't know.
I'm going to rate it 3 skulls, because it was just average.
That's what I was thinking, but then... Sure, 3 skulls.
3 skulls? Okay.
You're welcome. Quality content.
So this movie, we're going to spoil it, so if you want to go watch it on Netflix, go watch it on Netflix and then come back. This movie took place, it starts in 1983, a bunch of college kids, they're out of high school, college childs.
A
bunch of college kids. Well, it only shows there's only 2 remaining at the beginning of this, but apparently there was more. There's a boy screaming on the roof, and there's a girl yelling at him to stand up and jump, but he falls. It looks like he falls. I think maybe he was pushed because he ran out of time and dies. The girl goes back into the house, and there's a message written on the mirror that
pour
says,
the acid on your face.
Pour the acid
on your head.
Your head. Pour the acid over your head, and there's a bucket there. So
wait, what if you just put it like a bowl above your head and then just pour the acid into the bowl? That's pouring it over your head.
Yeah, you would be good at this game because you're an a-hole. Okay, so she makes a paste with some baking soda and she covers her head with it, and then she pours the bucket of acid over her head, and then the screen fades to black and you can just hear her screaming. And then it cuts to present day. Well, present day for them was 2017. It's 2 girls and a dude in a car on their way to some weekend getaway, a Halloween party with their friend Carter has put together. He's rented a house. It's the same house, I think, isn't it? Yeah. And the host.
Same house. Okay.
When they all get there, there's quite a few kids too. It's not a small amount of kids.
There's more than 5.
Yeah, there's I think
7 or 8. There's 7 or 8 kids.
There's Carter and yeah, there's quite a few. Okay, so we'll talk about it. I think there's 8.
Sounds about right.
4 couples, sort of. They're not all together, but so the host Carter, he tells the kids about the kids who played Truth or Dare in the 80s, and only 6 out of the 7 of those kids died. There was only 1 survivor. And one of the girls, I think it was Alex, probably Alex, right? She asked about the survivor. And he said, if you did see her, her face would make you wish you had him. So
Haunt you.
Yeah, it would haunt you.
You're welcome for correcting you. I'm best.
So they're obviously talking about the girl at the beginning where they poured the acid over her head. The host wants to play Truth or Dare for this weekend, and the Holt, he plays Guillermo in What We Do in the Shadows, and we love Guillermo, right? He's so awesome. He kind of doesn't want to play the Truth or Dare. Nobody really wants to play because people have died in this house. Everybody's kind of like, maybe we shouldn't. But Holt's like, oh, come on, it's Halloween, blah, blah, blah. So
I thought you just said Holt doesn't want to.
Holt doesn't. That's Guillermo.
Yeah, you just said Holt's like.
Holt's like what?
You said the Holt's like, come on, let's play. It's like Halloween.
Oh, I messed up. So I meant Carter. Sorry,
I was confused.
It's Carter. He's constantly pushing them to play this game.
Well, I was confused.
Because he wants to film it. I think he's trying to get it to go viral. The first dare, what of course is it going to be, Phin?
Sex related.
What is it almost always specifically?
Have you ever banged this person?
No. I thought the first one was,
Really?
yeah, no, the first one was kiss that girl.
Oh.
Guys always want to see a girl kiss another girl. Ugh. It was so predictable.
Well, they didn't know who was going to pick it.
It doesn't matter. It's always gonna be titillating like that. Ooh, two girls kissing. Oh my goodness. Whatever. It's so predictable. I believe that the other Truth or Dare movie actually starts with that too.
Pretty sure in The Babysitter, they're like,
Yeah. Yeah,
And
when they're playing,
spin
spin
the
the
bottle.
bottle. Yeah, it was two girls kissing and everybody's like, oh. It's such a stupid trope, you guys. So the next one, the girl pulls the card and she looks at it and she refuses to do it. And that is Maddie. She was one of the girls that was in the car at the beginning with Alex and her boyfriend Tyler. Tyler is pre-med, by the way. Tyler's important because he's pre-med. She says, the next one, the girl, so Maddie pulls it and everybody's like, oh no, you have to play. And the paper says, have you ever slept with Tyler, which is Alex's girlfriend. Maddie and Alex are best friends. And she says, no, I've never slept with Tyler. And then everybody gets a text that says,
liar.
liar.
And then someone's like, awkward.
So she fesses up and she tells Alex, Tyler's girlfriend, and
That they're drunk.
Alex goes running off crying. And Tyler tells Maddie that he didn't tell anybody, so he doesn't know how that ended up in the pile. So they look through the pile of truths or dares, and they're all kind of crazy.
Like put your hand on the stove.
Yeah, and it's not what they wrote. It's not in any of their handwriting. So Tyler, the boy that cheated on his girlfriend, he gets a dare that says, put your hands on the stove, on the hot stove. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
And then,
Wait, can't you just turn it on and then just touch the side of the stove?
okay, I don't need you trying to figure out ways to get out of it. Okay? So that's the dare. He storms off. It says, do the dare or the dare does you. And he goes into the kitchen and he's all mad. And since his dare was to put your hands on the hot stove, the stove turns itself on and the table goes sliding across the kitchen and pushes him into the stove and his hand lands on the stove. And cooks his skin. He can't get it off. Like, it's one of those electric stoves. And there's a busted old TV that comes on and it says 3 rounds, 48 hours or you die.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, everybody is trying to contact me on Twitter. It's pissing me off. Please stop sending so many messages.
I was trying to film.
So there's, let's see. Oh, so Jessie, who's the new girl in the group, and she's vegan. She gets a dare that says she has to eat Tyler's burnt flesh. So she's like, screw this crap, I'm out of here. And she tries to leave and the doors all slam shut on them and they can't even break the windows. The windows suddenly board themselves up.
And there's all this
And
stuff.
so they tell Jessie that she needs to eat Tyler's burnt flesh. So she goes over to the stove and she eats like a piece off of it. And she's all gagging on it. And then the phone starts ringing and very predictably,
It's like,
Maddie answers the phone and what does it say?
all of it.
All of it. Jessie needs to eat all of the skin off of the stove.
She just takes it all and she's just gulps it like
So
a
that was
champ.
predictable also. So she eats it all and the
champ.
piano starts dinging and it says finish the round on the music sheets because they were all going to just leave. And Holt, Guillermo from What We Do in the Shadows, his dare is to grab the live wires. And they're like, what live wires? And then all of a sudden
The chandelier falls.
chandelier falls and there's some bare wires hanging from there. And so Tyler, who is pre-med, says he grabs a blanket and he goes, just grab the wires and as soon as you do it, Carter's going to like
Push you off because
tackle you off.
so that it because you can't take your hand off.
So he does, and Holt survives, even though he got shocked. So then the next dare is Luke is told to smash his knee. He's on a scholarship for college, a baseball scholarship. He's told to smash his knee with a bat, and a bat comes rolling down the stairs, and Jessie picks it up, and she's like, I'm so sorry. And they're like dating, and she just taps.
Just
She like taps his knee with it, and he's like, oh. oh, he's like yelling and crying and stuff like that. But he didn't hit her hard. So Carter picks up the bat and he smashes Luke's knee. And that was rough. And now we're starting to go into territory that I don't like. We are starting to go down torture porn territory, which I hate, like Hostel and those types of movies where it's purely for the benefit of the viewer to watch somebody in pain and how gross they can get. And I started wondering, maybe I'm not going to be able to finish this because I really hate torture porn movies. But I continued on. Addison, we catch her taking pills when they first get there. She tries to leave, and a truth card, a whole bunch of them, come floating down from the stairs, and it says that Addison's an addict. She's like, I'm not an addict, and everybody's like, what's going on? You're an addict? And she's like, she's not.
No, the door slams closed and it says, liar.
Liar.
The door.
Yeah, and they get a text that says, you lie, you die, and
they're like, oh no. And
Addison tries to run out. I can't remember.
No, behind them there's a door that opens, and then they get pushed to the side and the door opens and she gets
pushed out. But what impales her? Something impales her.
There's like a thing in the lawn that she gets impaled by.
So she gets impaled and she's dead. So they actually call the cops. So they actually call the cops and they go to the hospital. Luke gets his knee taken care of, and Tyler gets his hand that's been burnt taken care of. The police are questioning them and they're telling them the truth, what happened, but the police obviously aren't believing them. They think it's some kind of stupid thing that they were doing. They were on drugs or something. And Carter tries to show them the video he had taken, and the video's all corrupted. So they leave the hospital, which nobody was even crying about Addison being dead. Did you notice that? They were just like, oh no, what are we gonna do now? But like nobody was like, oh my God, our friend is dead. I'm in so much trauma. What are you guys doing in the writing room? So Carter says he'll tell Addison's parents. And then Maddie and Alex talk about it the next morning about, the cheating and the night and everything. And Carter sees Addison, like he lifts up his phone because he's looking through the video, and he sees Addison like in their bed, but when he looks around, she's not there. And then he looks through the video again and she's there. And
she's writing stuff on the walls and
she's writing on the walls and it says,
hang yourself.
Hang yourself. Yeah, on his dorm wall for 2 minutes. Yeah. And a noose hangs down from his ceiling and he runs out of time and it grabs him anyways and pulls him up towards the top of the roof. And the video gets sent to all of the kids so they all know what's going on.
They get a live video.
Yeah, they get a live video of what's going on and they go running to Carter's dorm room. And they can't get the door open and they're too late. And Carter dies. And so
seems just like a suicide.
It looks like a suicide because he didn't save Addison. So they decide they're going to go talk to the sole survivor of the last one. When we get there, the sole survivor doesn't want to answer the door, but when the Alex yells through the window, tells them what's going on, she relinquishes and lets them in. And it turns out half of her face is all burnt. But I was sitting there staring at it and it was really bothering me. And it turns out to be Heather Langenkamp, who played Nancy in Nightmare on Elm Street. So her face is all burnt. So what is that? Like,
because
Freddy's face is all burnt. Now her face is all burnt. And she's still our final girl because she was the final girl of her Truth or Dare. So yay, Heather, woo, we love seeing you. Because this movie was really bad acting, but Heather was there and she continued bad acting. Sorry. So the survivor, Donna, invites them and she tells them the history of Truth or Dare, which we didn't need. It was a really long sequence of her telling the story of how Truth or Dare came about. People have been playing it for like 300 years or whatever. I don't know. It just was this big long history that we didn't need. Whatever, filler. And Luke gets a dare to rob. Luke and Jesse did not go with them to go meet with Donna, and Luke gets a dare to go rob a gas station. He's the one with the busted up knee. So the sheets form a 9, like they start crumpling up and they form a 9, and there's a gun in the middle of the bed. So he picks up the gun and he says he's got to go do it, and Phin says, why doesn't he just demand $1? It's true, why not? I'm like, why couldn't he just shoplift? Because that's robbing a gas station. So the lady at the gas station, She's taking a really long time to get
Or
the
just
money
like
out.
a cent. You could be like,
And
can you
he
just give me a cent?
turns and looks at Jesse. And when he turns and looks at Jesse, the lady behind the counter, she pulls out the gun and she shoots him. So now Jesse's dead. So now we got, or Luke's dead. So now we got Addison, Carter, and Luke. They're all dead. So that's body count 3. If you count the one at the beginning, that's body count 4 in this. So they tell Jesse to.
Well, if you count everybody that died.
Jesse tears out of there and she's crying on the phone with them and she's telling them what happened to Luke and they're like, you need to come to the house, we need to finish the game. So, or they're all gonna die. So Jesse shows up at the house and Tyler, Alex, Maddie, and Holt are all there waiting for her, and they go inside the house and Tyler gets a drink, the liquid dare. Now one of the most important things that Donna actually tells them as our threshold guardian is she tells them that you need to share the dare. You need to share the dare in order to survive some of these. So they decide that since Tyler gets to drink the liquid and it's poison obviously, and he's pre-med, so he's like, I didn't look this up to see the validity of it, but it sounds like bullshit to me. He makes them all drink a soda to have the phosphorus acid in their stomachs to absorb some of the poison. Drink the soda really super fast, and then everybody drinks their share of the poison and then throw it up. They did that and it worked. So like I said, I can't vouch for the validity of it. Maddie hears a noise in the dining room, and her dare is, there's a, what's it called? Pliers? Yeah, pliers. Pliers are sitting in the middle of the dining room table, they're spinning around, and her dare is to
Pull out 2 teeth.
pull out 2 teeth.
And there's 3 candles, 3 minutes.
3 minutes. So Tyler says he'll pull out Maddie's tooth, and then he wants Holt to pull out his tooth. He pulls out Maddie's tooth pretty quick, but like, there's a lot of screaming and crunching, and I have really bad dental phobia, so I was kind of freaking out at this point. Like I said, I hate torture porn. I hate it. And then Holt says he can't do it. Well,
It's already half out.
He's like half out, so Tyler actually has to take hold of the pliers himself and yank it out, and it's just
Awful.
It's gross, and it's all very traumatizing for me. And then the next dare they get is Alex's, and she gets a play Russian roulette dare. So I don't remember the rules for the Russian roulette dare, but it seems kind of bullshit. And so she puts the gun to her head and she pulls the trigger and nothing happens. And she puts the gun to her head again and she pulls the trigger and nothing happens. And then
What's her face?
Maddie takes the next one, and she's gonna do it. She's crying and everything, and then Tyler, because he slept with both Alex and Maddie, grabs the gun and shoots himself in the head, and now our pre-med student is dead.
He's probably the one who shouldn't have done that, because he's kind of the medic there.
So then Holt gets a dare that says get run over by a car, and Holt admits he was involved in a hit and run, and it's like the house knows their secrets. And so they decide they're going to run over his foot with the car, but the car doesn't start, and then he runs out of time, and then the car rolls, starts itself, and then he gets really hit. Like, it's gross.
He's dead. Hit.
I mean, gruesomely run over by Jesse's truck, and Jesse's in the truck when this is all happening, so she's traumatized. So Tyler and Holt's dead, so now we got a body count 5, 6 if you count 1980s. Jesse and Alex and Maddie are left, which are the 3 girls. And we're guessing Alex is going to be our final girl. Me and Phin, we decided that.
I said it first.
And they get the dare, chain yourself to a pipe. So Jessie starts down. Jessie, before we even start with this, Jessie is a vegan, but when she saw a cockroach on the floor, she smashed the crap out of it. She has a severe cockroach phobia. So she goes down into the basement to tie herself to, chain herself to the pipe.
I'll just chain my arm.
Phin assumed that it was going to be a hot pipe, but when she gets down there, starts moving the chains, there's cockroaches underneath it. She's kind of so freaked out, and she takes so long. She runs out of time, and all these cockroaches
eat her alive.
They started going down her throat and they cover her, and now Jesse's dead. Body count 6 out of these guys. There's only 2 left. So me and Phin noticed that just like The Descent, the final 2 girls have slept with the same guy. Way to pit ladies against each other. Definitely written by dudes. So they get a dare to remove 7 living body parts in 7 minutes. And I was ready to quit at this point because that sounds an awful lot like torture porn to me. I don't like it. So Phin and I say, hey, cut off fingers and toes, pinkies.
Pinky toes.
Pinky toes.
That's
but
8.
I guess they have to do different body parts.
So
one girl pulls out some hair,
Frick
another
that.
girl pulls out some eyelashes, and then one pulls out her nail. And
Ow. Which was from
and then they cut off a piece of Alex's skin.
like, why not just like a tiny bit off here if you want to take some skin?
She pulls like a whole big chunk of skin off
Like
of her.
she's just like
And then
cut the whole thing.
The house calls, I think.
Yeah, it's
And
just
says, the house says whole body parts. So Alex cuts off her earlobe, and Maddie cuts off a pinky, and then Alex cuts off a pinky toe, and they're so bloody, and I'm dying because I hate this kind of crap. And Maddie, you know what, I'm giving this 2 skulls. I'm changing it. And then Maddie offers her foot. Her foot, people. So they tourniquet Maddie's leg, and it takes like 10 or 11 chops to cut off Maddie's foot. And they race to the hospital, and they get a dare on the GPS. It says, kill her. So Maddie tells her, you have to do what you have to live, and Alex drives straight into a tree, and the screen goes black, and you hear one of the girls take a breath. The end. I'm giving it 2 skulls. I don't like torture porn. I didn't like this movie at all. I feel like it was just written for shock value. If you're really into torture porn, you like Hostel and that kind of stuff, this is not going to be gory enough for you. It was gory enough for me, and I didn't like it. And I don't know why it has the same name as another movie that came out a year later.
No,
There
it
you
doesn't have
go.
the same name as a movie that movie, because the other movie has the same name as that movie, because the movie we watched came out
The only time
first.
we'll give a 1 skull is if we can't finish a movie because it's so dumb.
Like Mortal Engines. Yeah, we never finished Mortal Engines.
So if you watch it, leave us a comment down below, say what you thought of it. I don't know.
Boop.
I don't know.
Boop.
Finn,
Boop.
how did you feel by the end? Make sure you put 2 skulls.
In between us two.
Okay. So, go vote.
Like and subscribe.
And we'll
See you next time.